All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geopolitical Trends, where the truth matters. Very, very excited to be with you. As always, I got an interesting topic for you today. I know a lot of media is focusing on what's going on in West Asia, specifically in Gaza and all that, which we all know it's very important to keep up with. But also, you have to pay attention also to what's going on in other parts of the world. Well, one of the key topics that kind of caught my attention, and I wanted to share it with you, is North Korea, as to the statements that Kim Jong Un of North Korea just made. Very, very fascinating. So this is what I'm going to be detailing with you briefly here, and we're going to continue the conversation on the other platform because there are some things I need to share with you over there. In addition to some images, I need to show them over there. So you all know why. And by the way, I put that question for you guys in the community about if Elon Musk buys YouTube. So, and I made a mistake, by the way. I reversed the YT and I put TY. A mistake. So I'm a human. So somebody caught that and let me know. So I mentioned that I made a mistake. So anyway, and I asked, what do you guys think? Given the state of the freedom of speech in the West, in the US, collective West, that is, should Elon Musk buy YouTube? Yes, no, maybe. So, and most of you said no, about 71%. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be addressing. Make sure, please, to type in where you are joining me from. Wong Kisi, I saw someone here from Malaysia. Good to have you. Oh, here is my man. Here is my man, Osiris. Great. Why I'm saying this, guys, Osiris is the one, and now he's here, so I'm assuming that's okay with me to disclose that. Osiris is the one that buys me coffee every day. Every day. Osiris and KC Kwan. Those two buys me coffee every day, by the way. So good to see you, Osiris. I know you've been busy and working and all that stuff. Omsi from Vancouver. Good to see you. Oh, Farhad Razavi. Good to see you from Norway. Very interesting. Good to see you here. Where's Willie? Where is Willie? Willie is here from Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. What else? Who else? Phil from Ottawa, Canada. Good to see you. Army with Harmony. Good to see you. Here is Willie Homan. I know he's from West Memphis, Arkansas. So good to see you guys. Hamad Sidi from England. Good to see you. And Farhad Razavi, I'm sorry, originally from Iran. So thanks for sharing that. So I hope you had a chance to read my Iran book. Very fascinating about the history of Iran, which most of us in the West do not know much. So anyway, very excited to be with you here, guys. So let's talk about our topic today. Well, today's topic is North Korea's leader Kim Jong Un made the stunning, I use the term stunning announcement calling for change, meaning making changes in the constitution of North Korea, that his country's constitution now is going to declare South Korea as an enemy of the state or a hostile state or separate state, whatever term you want to use. So this is very, very interesting. And the key questions we need to ask, let me share them with you here, guys. The key question we ought to ask, because it's worth asking, of course, the timing of it. Why now? And I'm not going to share it here. I'll share it with you on the other platform. In my opinion, one of the key elements as to why that is. But here is the questions, or here are the questions you need to ask. Why did Kim Jong Un, that is, why Kim changed course of unification, the legacy of his father? Because remember, his father was working on the unification. I remember this, 1994, when it was a meeting between the U.S. representatives of North Korea at the time. It was Madeleine Albright. You all remember her, the one that she said the thousands of children, they were destroyed, killed in Iraq. Those are, it's expected damage. What a shame on her. So anyway, That was the time during these negotiations between North Korea in 1994. The second question is why now? Why now? And the third thing we need to consider is a military conflict coming to the region? Straightforward, because all this can be happening in a vacuum, no matter how you look at it. No matter how you look at it. So, and by the way, guys, here is the link to where I'm going to be right here. And let me share it with you on the chat box so you'll have it. If you can just share it with others as well. So let me share it with you right here. And we all know, if there is one thing to learn about North Korea, is that they don't bluff. I remember one time it was a meeting between U.S. representatives in one location near the border between South Korea. And you know what happened after that? Kim Jong Un, the current leader of his sister, which he trusts a lot, went ahead and gave the order and bombed the building where the meeting took place. They don't want to take any chances. And this is what I am going to be detailing a little bit think with you here. Then we'll do it on the other side as well. So, Poyan Tzu, good to see you as well. So, and now let me get into my headlines. What's going on around the world? So I share some here, but I save others for the other platform because there are certain things I can show here anyway. So here's the first one. You all know what this is, I'm sure. Yeah. Shell suspended all its Red Sea operations indefinitely. So you all know what it means. That means now even the import of oil from the Middle East going to Europe, it's not there anymore. So even India, by the way, India now, all its transport that's sent to Europe is being halted. That's it. Because India is no exception. No shipping is going to go through the Red Sea anymore. That's it. And if we were thinking that we're going to scare the HI group, we were mistaken. So here's the thing. Even the Wall Street, which usually I don't trust media outlets here. And by the way, yesterday I got an email from YouTube informing me about removing one of the link I put for you in the description. So I'll share it with you on the other location. So the Wall Street Journal quoted unnamed informed source as saying that British oil major Shell suspended all shipments across the Red Sea indefinitely after US-UK strikes on the HR group. No, it's not about maritime security. It's hypes. It's about money, the insurance. Do you guys have any idea, insurance companies, how much money they're making? And we wanted to make sure that our American companies, insurance that's making those kind of profits. That's what's at the heart of it. All these hypes about, maritime security, safety, all this, no, stability, no. Don't buy it. Here is the next thing. There is this guy. Who can tell me who this guy is? Now you want to recognize him because he dresses differently. Now he's putting suit and tie. He looks different. Can anybody guess who this guy is? Which country? From which country? Before I share it. It's you will recognize him if you see him in his traditional outfit, but not on this one. Oh, you got it. You got it, OMC. You got it, YA. You guys got it. You got it. Yeah. Saudi foreign minister. That's who he is. Now, what happened with this guy? Saudi foreign minister. Here's the thing. And this is why I said last time, you can't trust the Saudis. You can't trust any Arab country when it comes down to the issue of Palestine right now. So the Saudi Arabia may recognize Israel if the Palestinian crisis is resolved. See how they put in the condition? To me, it's weak position. You are arguing from a weak position. You have all the armament you have, and you are useless. You, Saudi Arabia in this case. But anyway, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan said on Tuesday that the kingdom could recognize Israel if Palestine crisis is resolved. That's so weak. It's shame. That's all I can say. So the Saudi foreign minister expressed his country's concern about regional security and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. Like I said to you guys last time, in geopolitics, it's all about strategic interest. No more, no less. No matter what you read from mainstream or whatever, it's all about strategic interests. And this is why he's stressing the priority is to reduce now the escalation through the ceasefire. Well, look how much damage was caused. Look how much lives were lost. Children, women, you all got the idea, right? So the other thing that I need to share with you guys, and I'm not going to do it here, I'll do it on the other location, has to do with this one here. I'll explain it on the other side. And this liar here is a liar. So, yeah. So I'll share this with you on the other location once we get there after this one here. So for now, let's move on with our conversation about this. So North Korea, let's say straightforward, is not bluffing. North Korea does not bluff. This is the way I see it, given that I've been following up on its sort of how North Korea has always been. It's not bluffing. So this is where the concern that they're going to need to think about, meaning they, the West in this case. But South Korea has been digging its own holes by fomenting more support for the fomenting tensions through, or the U.S. fomenting tension through South Korea. Both of them, South Korea and Japan. And now I have to add two others. Philippines, who is the fourth country, guys? Can you answer that one in the chat box? Who is the fourth country? And I always said this before. And I'm going to talk about it on the other platform. Let's see if you guys can know which other countries. So you got it, Omsi. Indeed. And there is a reason. And mark my word, I believe the reaction of Kim Jong Un has to do with something that is taking place in Australia. And I will explain to you later on. So you look at those four: Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and Australia. So Kim Jong Un is not going to trust. Yeah, and this is the reason why he's moving into this direction. So this comes on the heels of tensions between both North and South Korea. Of course, that they are reaching up a dangerous level. I'll have to say this again, because North Korea doesn't bluff. This is where, to me, as geopolitical analyst, I fear that Asia could become the next conflict front. And I've been saying this for months, if not for years. Some of my previous writing, if you go back to 2014, 15, 16, I mentioned about where I see things headed in Asia. And of course, what confirms it for me is when NATO decided now to open an office in Tokyo. What confirms it for me is when also the Philippines Marcos flipped his position vis-a-vis China. What confirms it also for me is what Australia ends up doing. So this is to me where, and this is where Kim Jong-un made this stunning announcement. It is a stunning. The West didn't see this coming. So I'm calling for the change that the status that his country now is going to label South Korea as a hostile state is the same status that North Korea is giving to the U.S. because North Korea sees the U.S. as a hostile state. So, and North Korea recently And I think I'll talk about it later on, but I'll just mention brief that there was a statement made on December 28th of last year. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the because you all know how it is. I don't need to beat the dead horse, but let's just move on with what we need to do. So let's talk about a little bit of geography about North Korea and the history. A lot of us in the West here have no clue. And this is why we couldn't get inside North Korea. As a matter of fact, you all know the incident that took place in, where was it? Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it in Malaysia airport or the Indonesia airport when the half brother of Kim Jong Un was taken out? So if you can please type in a chat box which country it was. You know, it was used, some biological weapon was used, and Malaysia. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do remember somewhere around that country, but I couldn't remember. So because why his half brother was taken out? Do you guys know the background story? So it was Malaysia, yeah, indeed. Do you guys know the background story why his half brother was taken out? Before I share it. Okay. See that one here, right there. Yeah. He was an asset for that. Yes, it was an asset. So they end up taking it. They was aware of it. This is why we cannot get into North. We will never, that's why we end up using whatever terminology to say about North Korea and all that stuff. So, but here's the thing. Oh, we need to do geography. What am I thinking about before I move forward here? It's important to see, guys, and I'm going to share it with you in a screen here and provide you brief geography. Then I'll move into the history, which is very, very important. Just for you to see this one. North Korea. There we go. I don't know if I can make this any bigger here, but that's how far it goes. Let me close this stuff here. A lot of ads on this. Stop seeing these ads. Yes, we don't need to. Anyway, North Korea is a country in Eastern Asia. It is located both in the northern and eastern hemispheres of the earth. North Korea occupies the northern half of the Korean peninsula, bordering the Korean Bay and the Sea of Japan. I'm sure you can see that one there, guys, and I can move it a little bit up here. Yeah, the Korean Bay right here on the left, and the Sea of Japan on the east. Between China and South Korea. North Korea is bordered by China in the north, by Russia in the northeast, by South Korea in the south. So, and the military demarcation line forms the land border between the north and the south. It is known also as the DMZ, or the 38th parallel, whatever term you can use. That's how it is known. It's right, this one here, guys. That's the 38th line, or 38th parallel. So that's very important to understand. Now, when it comes down to the history of North Korea, let me see if I have a picture I need to share with you. Kim Il-sung, yeah. Yeah, I do have one picture that I need to show you. It's right there, guys. Right here. This one here. Because without this, you won't understand the history of... This is during the Kim Il-sung era. Okay? Now, when you think about that, and there is another map I need to show you. Hold on. Well, let's move on through this first. Then I'll share the picture with you. So what you need to know historically, you would go back to 1948. This is when the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, was established. Kim Il-sung became the first premier of the North Korean at that time. At that time, it was North Communist regime. So 1949, he became chairman of the Korean Workers' Party, the KWP, which created from the Communist Party founded earlier. So it was the same, he just created a new one through that. Until his death in 1994, Kim ruled the country with an iron hand, as we all know. But you remember, this is written from a Western perspective. So the terminology is going to include some words that can like trigger your emotions. Iron face, fist, iron this, iron that. We all know it's a different system altogether. So, and that's where the term was given as far as the great leader of the Korean people. Then you move into 1950s to 1960s, and that's where that status is. The status of Kim Il-sung at the Korean Revolution Museum in Pyongyang. This is what you're looking at. So what happened? After the Korean War, Kim purged the so-called domestic factions and indigenous communist groups that had remained in Korea during the colonial period. Why? This one was much aimed at sort of scapegoating for the disastrous war, because it was a disastrous war. So after 1956, as the Sino-Soviet conflict intensified, this is what made it very interesting historically, because during the same time frame, China and Russia had conflicts. So what Kim did, he shifted his positions vis-a-vis Moscow and Beijing. No fewer than 3 times, from pro-Soviet to neutral to pro-China and finally to independent. So in other words, he went back and forth. Why do you think he did that? Survival, strategic interest. That's why I always say, guys, if you get anything out of what I share with you vis-a-vis global affairs, international relations, geopolitics, it's all about national strategic interest. That's the bottom line. So during 1956, 1958, he carried out a purge against the pro-Chinese group at that time, which was known as the Yunnan faction, and eliminated at the same time the pro-Soviet factions from the KWP party, which is the Central Committee at that time. Fast forward to 1966, because remember the Korean War also, we were involved in that. After the visit to Pyongyang by the Soviet premier at that time, Alexei Kuznik, or Kosygin, Kim announced what became known as independent party line in North Korea, which stresses the key principles. There were 3 principles, if I am to recall this correctly: complete equality, sovereignty, and mutual respect, and non-interference among the communist and worker parties. And this is why now you fast forward to today, you see the relationship between North Korea and China and Russia. So fast forward to the late 60s, the regime at the time implemented a program for strengthening the armed forces. That's how they moved forward with the military. A part of the effort is to fortify the entire country. This is why you have more military airfields were constructed and large underground aircraft hangars were built. So North Korea's emphasize, FYI guys, North Korea's emphasize, let me remove this one here. And I gotta put this one here too. That's the current leader's father. So the interesting thing for you to understand about the North Korea's emphasis on strengthening its military forces, proceeded, here is what's interesting, proceeded hand in hand with its continued focus on the development of a self-reliant economy. As of today, we all know the sanctions imposed on North Korea. But North Korea depends greatly now on only 2 countries, Russia and China. There are other countries. Those are done behind closed doors. I was even aware of some technological exchange between Iran and North Korea. between Iran and Libya, way back. I was during my days in Washington. So, and with the aid from Soviet Union back then, still Russia today, mainly in the military technology aspect, China and countries of Eastern Europe. There are some countries that they are dealing with North Korea. So this is why North Korea moved forward into that extension. Then you go to the 1970s, the death of Kim Il-sung. That's the father. It's this one right here, the death of this one. That's the father here. Then came the Kim Il-sung right here, the one you see in his picture. Oh, not those idiots. Right here. So, 1970s. That has to do with domestic developments. So, and this took in two sort of plans of 6 years each, 1971 to 1977, and 7-year plan, 1978 to 1984. However, let's state the fact that both plans, they failed to achieve their goals. This is why it was that recall about, I don't know if you remember reading in Western media that the North Korean regime starving its people and so forth. That was because of the plans here that have failed. So this is what happened during that time. You fast forward to 1972. This is what's important, is the Constitution was adopted and the premiership was changed to presidency, which Kim Il-sung assumed. And that's why how Kim retained his post as a chairman, which was later on renamed to Secretary General. So, as to international relations, Korea remained one of the most isolated and inaccessible countries in the international community because the severe restrictions on travels and so forth. You all remember that the American Christian who went to North Korea to, I guess, to push for religion, whatever, and end up being detained. Yeah, what are you going to North Korea to push for your religious views? And because they found, I think, the Bible or whatever. Well, Koreans, they don't want that. So you go visit, you don't go change people's. You are a guest, no more, no less. So. And this is why in the 70s, North Korea, actually in both the 1970s and 1980s, North Korea maintained a balanced diplomatic relations with both Russia or Soviet Union at that time and China. This is very, very important to understand. And of course, if we are to think about the 2001, this is when Kim Il-sung, the son, died, especially in 1994. It was on July 8th, and his son Kim Jong-il succeeded him, which is the right here. Let me show you image. Yes, right there. That's the image you're looking for. You're looking at rather. Succeeded him. However, he did not assume the post as Secretary General for the KWP or President because he consolidated his power. So, and that you fast forward to recently when the Kim Jong Un took over. So this is one of the important aspects to understand about the history of North Korea, because without that, it's not going to make sense to us guys to understand where things are headed moving forward with the country. So it was another image that I needed to show you here. If I could share it with you, if you allow me. Let me share it with you guys here. Stop sharing, and I'm going to share this image with you. And I'm not gonna get into talking about the provinces of North Korea and all that stuff. No, I'm gonna move on to explain a few things. And there's the image here, guys. This is about when I was talking about the history of North Korea to a degree. So just to highlight to you, where things were in the idea. And this is during the era of Kim Il Sung. Yeah, Kim Il Sung. That's the part that I needed to share with you. So, all right, let's move on to. Let me stop this one here and share this picture here with you. This is where the statement was made, guys. The recent one that we are going to be talking about, and I'm going to talk about briefly here for about 15 minutes or so, and move on to the other one. So even for a nation, you will think in terms of like North Korea, that has perfectly been sort of thinking in terms of not paranoid, but also thinking in terms of survival. So Kim Jong Un's declaration that he would abandon now the goal of his father's legacy for trying to reunify the Koreans was shocking to the rest of the world. But I can see his reasons, because he's seeing what South Korea is doing. South Korea has no sovereignty. When you have over 30,000 US troops there, same arguments can be made about Japan. What unification he's going to be after? No, he's not going to do that. And this is why almost the idea of inevitable conflict, and that's why he's preparing for it. So world power now, the whole world is going to be now watching closely. Why? Because North Korea does not bluff. And if we ever provoke them, they have their missiles within reach to all where US troops are stationed in both, or in three countries, mainly both, Japan and South Korea. And this is why some have considered this is one of his biggest foreign policy statements since 2011, because that's when he took power. Yeah, because it is major and plays out because he's now gaining leverage in the region that is holding both promise and danger. We all saw what took place with the elections in Taiwan, given that, of course, this new guy, Lei, who is the U.S. asset there, he lost the majority in the parliament, which, in my opinion, is going to take about 3 or 4 or even 5 cycles, and you won't see that DPP anymore. Those are the signs. It's going to be moving down. But for Kim, he's looking at it differently. He's looking at what South Korea is doing, what Japan is doing, especially with NATO going to Tokyo. What NATO is going to open office in Tokyo for? So he's seeing also what the Philippines have flipped all of a sudden, taking this posturing about the fishermen being attacked by China and all that stuff. Wait a minute. How all of a sudden Philippines is embarking on this? And even if it were the case, wouldn't it make more sense? Wouldn't it make more sense, guys, that Philippines, Marcos in this case, will take a trip to Beijing and sit down with President Xi and have a heart-to-heart conversation? Can we fix this issue? And this is where I believe Kim Jong Un is watching all these developments, let alone the big one in Australia, which I will talk about on a next platform when I leave from here. And that's, to me, he is kind of like, no, I'm going to prepare myself. And by the way, when they say prepare, they mean they're going to use whatever they are preparing. So this is not about just a show of capability. This is about the possibility of using those weapons, including the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, which, by the way, they tested. And I'll talk about this in the next platform. So, and this why some sort of it was a bombshell for the West. They didn't see this because they thought they can just be, provoking till when? And here is what Kim Jong Un said, and I quote: "We hereby declare South Korea as a hostile state and demand immediate recognition of this status in our constitution. We will not tolerate any interference or provocations from the South. End of quote. Those words are measured. Because here's the thing. We think, some of us in the West think, oh, North Koreans, they don't know a thing. What diplomacy was. Their people are shrewd. They are very smart. To me, as an analyst, I'm reading this and saying how measured those words are. In response, the president of, I don't have his picture here. Let me see if I can get one here for you guys. Of South Korea. Excuse me. Yeah, there's I found the picture here. I'll share it with you guys. I know some of you know who is, but others don't. So it's only fair that I provide both sides of the argument that is so, just for you to see. At least you know who is. Here it is. This is the president of South Korea, Yoon Suk Yeol. I'm sorry, I don't speak Asian language, but Yoon Suk Yeol. If anybody can help with phonetically how to pronounce it. In any event, here is what he said, and I quote, "This move by North Korea is highly concerning and will not be taken lightly. We will respond doubly to Pyongyang provocations and ensure the safety and security of our people." Well, wait a minute. How do you think North Korea is perceiving you allowing over 30,000 American troops over there? Wouldn't that be a concern to their security and safety as well? And again, I'm not defending North Korea. I don't do that, guys. You know this by now. I provide you on objective assessments. That's the whole idea of. So you can know, or you can hear, or you can understand at least the other side of the argument. That's what I'm doing here. So when the South Korean president saying, well, it's because we will want to ensure the safety and security of our people. How does he think North Korean feels? And this is, again, as geopolitical analyst, I am seeing, it's almost like my fears and concerns are coming to the surface, because I've been watching all this. And this now have raised to a poignant question. This is the question. And I've asked you before, is Asia heading towards another conflict? That's the reason why I asked you that question at the beginning. And I do see the moment I knew that NATO is going to have an office in Tokyo, I just put the two and two together and figure out it's not going to bode well for countries that are under U.S. thumb: Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and Australia. Taiwan, I won't consider it a country because it's not a country. Let's just say this straightforward. But yeah, the party there, the DPP, is under the U.S. thumb or influence, whatever term you want to use. That's why Lei won the elections there, but lost the majority in the parliament. So, and you all know about the history of the region with the Korean War, the hostilities, which, by the way, that Korean War never ended. It never officially ended. There's still a war, according to if we are to use the terms in international law. It was never declared officially over. So, and this is why I said, as an analyst, I am thinking in terms of, if Asia becomes the next conflict, it will be very, very problematic, because you have to think in terms of major powers. You call them superpowers militarily, Russia and China. So, and of course, the United States, they all having strategic interests in the region. That is where I see the big concern lying forward. So, and this is what I'm going to continue the conversation on the other platforms. So now don't get me wrong here. Yes, the conflict is on the horizon. I see it. There are still also voices out there that they are pushing for peaceful resolutions to those issues. But how can you do that? Yeah, how can you do that when you have over 30,000 of American troops in Japan, some in Philippines, some in South Korea, and now what we are planning on doing in Australia? I'm not including New Zealand yet. I shall see. But that is where that challenge is. It's going to there. So, and again, it begs the question: what prompted Kim Jong Un all of a sudden to do this, especially after his speech of December 28th of last year? So, to me, it just became clear that this decision by Kim Jong Un came during a heightened tensions on the Korean Peninsula, and all this because if you see what type of missiles North Korea just tested, those are not random. Yeah, they could test whatever type of missiles. No, they won't random, and I shared this with you last time. That is missiles that are hypersonic capable. Yeah, that tells you where things are headed in the regarding its relations with its southern neighbors. So when South Korean presidents denounce this and that for the security of people, he needs to think about the security of how North Koreans feel as well. And all of this, especially from the south part, is pushed by my country. Sad to say. Why my country is pushing for all more tensions? We have enough here at home. We have problems right here. We have a degrading healthcare system. We have a massive breakdown in infrastructure. We have a poverty that is going up. We have people struggling to make ends meet. And yet, our incompetent president taking US taxpayers' money and allocating it to sell armament to Taiwan and Philippines and Japan and South Korea and Australia and Europe and so forth. Why? So, and this is why, as soon as Kim Jong Un did this, the trio, you all know which trio I'm referring to here. Can you guys type in which trio countries I'm referring to? They issued a joint statement. Let me see what you guys type. Who the trio countries are. Yeah, it's ridiculous. What do we expect? They're gonna no trio countries. Yeah, the trio countries issued a statement, joint statement. Well, this one on the part of no, those are separate. It's US, China, I'm sorry, US, South Korea, and Japan. Yeah. No, China, Russia, they didn't even bother with this because they know what the US objective is. That's why they didn't respond. So it's what South Korea and Japan. I'm even surprised I didn't see Philippines part of that. I didn't see Australia yet. That's what surprised me the most. But at the same time, they are condemning the idea that North Korea tested some sort of a solid fuel medium-range ballistic missile on Sunday. They just did that. Well, what do they expect? And this is where I see it going. So I'm going to go to the other platform, guys, and finish up some other details over there. So here is the link once again. By the way, I put it in the description for this video on YouTube. You can look it up over there. So here it is once again. And I'm going to send it to you one more time in the chat box so you guys can get it there. And I will see you on the other side there. So copy hyperlink, and I'm going to type it for you guys. Please save your questions for the next one, and I'm going to answer your questions over there. Okay? So I will see you guys shortly in about literally 5 or 10 minutes. So I'll see you there, guys. As always, remember, truth matters, but also geopolitics impacts your daily life in every day. See you guys. Bye.